I'm a living, breathing person, human being. For example, McDonald's. McDonald's can't force me to eat their Big Macs. They need my consent. I would like to state for the record that I am not a corporation. I don't choose the contract with the state of Michigan. I don't choose to do business with them in this regard with another business.
I absolutely love this judge and honestly wish more judges carried themselves this way, because she handled this situation flawlessly. Watching her deal with this guy was like seeing a seasoned professional brush off a minor annoyance. You could almost feel how hard that shutdown hit him when she redirected the conversation to the attorney. It was as if his entire script got torn apart in seconds, and frankly, it was a much-needed dose of reality. What makes it even more unbelievable is that he was facing up to a year behind bars and still thought asking the judge to recite her oath was a smart strategy. On top of that, he openly admitted he doesn't understand the law, yet chose to represent himself anyway, like trying to lead a team without knowing the rules of the game. The most ironic part is how confident he seemed despite everything falling apart around him. I'll wrap things up here. Let me know what you thought about this court hearing. Did the judge handle it perfectly, or was this guy convinced he had some hidden winning move? Drop your thoughts below, and if you enjoy this kind of content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and take care.
Please.
I'm the executor and sole beneficiary of the trust and estate of Mr. Kevin Dwayne Craft, the legal persona. I am not here making a general appearance. I'm here by special divine appearance, judge, to settle a matter, to call for a constitutional court of record to ask for a summary judgment upon the truth and facts that I placed upon the record with my documents. I stand firmly on my rights, and I'm here to ask for that summary judgment, please.
You've asked for.
I do also have a few questions.
I understand you're pro se, and then therefore you get a little bit of leeway, but typically the judges don't answer questions. We're the ones who ask questions. This isn't like a trial court where it's a very kind of back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The Court of Appeals is more structured in terms of the lawyers or parties come up, they make their arguments. The judges may or may not have questions for the person, and then it's submitted, and then we go back and discuss the matter, and then at some point in the future we come out with an opinion. So it is different in that respect than trial court.
Understood. But I am wondering if this is a court of constitution, and would the Constitution be applied in these proceedings?
The Court of Appeals, the Michigan Court of Appeals, is provided for under the state Constitution of 1963.
Is that a yes?
That's the answer I'm giving you.
Okay. I'm asking to verify to make sure these proceedings are legitimate. The Constitution has two jurisdictions: common law, admiralty law, or maritime tribunal. And I'm asking in which context would this court try to enforce jurisdiction on me?
We're acting under the state Constitution of Michigan of 1963.
Moving forward, I'm here to pretty much address the court's error for ignoring my motions. Notice of dismissal, default judgment under Federal Rule 55 was filed December 12, 2022. Under Federal Rule 55, if a party fails to respond to the defendants themselves, and this is confirmed by my affidavits and other means, the clerk must officially record a default judgment of that party. I filed several motions and they were ignored. That's why I'm here. In Haynes versus Kirnar, 404 U.S. 519, 1972, courts must be understanding and not easily reject motions from people just representing themselves. And that's what took place in this matter. In Article 1, Section 17 of the Michigan Constitution prevents courts from ignoring motions and guarantees that people have a fair chance to represent themselves in any argument and evidence. That did not happen. That's why we're here. The state ordered me to take a paternity test. And Monell versus Department of Social Services, which is a New York State case. The Supreme Court case established that municipalities' liability under the section 1983 for constitutional violations in the context of child support cases, where the appellant argues that a warrant should be required for me obtaining genetic and biological material. I think it's very sensitive when a state injects an order asking me.
This guy is stretching so hard it's honestly uncomfortable to watch at this point. It's painfully obvious he's just trying to avoid paying child support. He seriously needs to step up and take responsibility. And get this, he actually had the audacity to argue that it's wrong for the state to require biological proof to confirm the child is his. Like, come on, this isn't some conspiracy theory, it's basic biology. How else is anyone supposed to verify paternity and make sure you're not dodging your obligations? These are just straightforward facts. If you're not involved, then don't turn it into your issue. Honestly, I'm not even convinced he's a true sovereign citizen. It feels more like he's simply trying to escape supporting his child, which is pretty messed up in my opinion. In today's world, kids need their parents more than ever, and the fact that he brought a so-called sovereign citizen argument into court just to avoid paying for his own child is wild to me. Let me know what you think so far, and let's get back into it.
And any consent or any contract with the state or Title 4D agency to give away my biological and genetic material. That the case Monell is relevant because it underscores the importance to ensure that government agencies like the friend of the court on this context, these are for-profit agencies disguised as government agencies like the friend of the court, adhere to constitutional standards where collecting evidence potentially implying the need of procedure safeguards to protect individuals' Fourth Amendment. That's why I asked, was this a constitutional court? The asking for genetic material is protected by my Fourth Amendment right. The Fourth Amendment protects individuals from unreasonable searches and seizures and safeguards one's privacy and assurance that any such search is conducted within the boundaries of legal requirements. I see that they're not here today, and that's some questions that are raised, and those were my concerns. On August 11, 2022, the Kent County ordered an appointment for me for genetic and biological testing. In a testing laboratory, DNA Diagnosis Center is a business, and I can prove it's a business because I have their Dun and Bradstreet numbers. 877-184226 for the record. They also said, when I thought this was funny, the state of Michigan stated that it would pay the cost of the genetic test. And if I wasn't excluded, that I would be responsible for that cost. And with that being said, that set alarms. The state of Michigan is also a business. And with them fronting the cost for me, that presented an alarm for me because I don't choose the contract with the state of Michigan. I don't choose to do business with them in this regard with another business. It seems like a coercion of some sort for them to upfront the cost if I was going to be responsible. I do not consent to that business arrangement. The state, they failed to show a promissory note of a contract of any sort. I submitted documents, notice to the court to demand dismissal for lack of jurisdiction, demanded to see an open court evidence of personal and subject matter jurisdiction, and notice of court to refusing to appear voluntary. And I do not accept the offer to contract, and I do not consent to these proceedings. That affidavit or notice to motion was submitted on November 28th, 2022. So again, I'm just bringing up the point that I submitted numerous of documents asking for clear evidence or asking for due process, also asking for just quite frankly, to be transparent with what's happening. And I believe I deserve the right to see in writing.
All right, so this so-called sovereign citizen actually claims he wants to see the contract that gives the state authority to test him for biological data. Like, what? First off, there's no secret contract. my guy. The state can enforce child support because it's part of family law in most states. If there's ever a question of paternity, they can order a DNA test, and yes, that's fully backed by law. It's all about making sure the right person is financially responsible for the child. This isn't some random contract, it's standard legal procedure. I have no idea where he thinks he's going with this, but the law is crystal clear here. The Court of Appeals is going to have no trouble saying no to this nonsense. Tell me what you think. Is it obvious this guy is just trying to dodge child support? Let's dive back in for the ending.
A creditor must provide proper documentation such as a promissory note contract to substantiate a debt or court claim. They did not. More documents I found. Affidavit inserting corporate nature of government entities. I submitted that document because I'm concerned that these are for-profit businesses disguised as government agencies. You know, I have proof. Kent County Court, Dun and Bradstreet number for the record, 152906082. Kent County Friend of the Court, Dun and Bradstreet number, 6088333133. State of Michigan, Dun and Bradstreet number, 504698428. These are businesses. I would like to state for the record that I am not a corporation.
I really don't get why these sovereign citizens think that just by claiming they're a living, breathing human being, the law will magically disappear. Okay, buddy, we're all living, breathing humans, but that doesn't give you a free pass to ignore the law. They act like saying this phrase is some kind of magic spell that erases all their responsibilities. It's as if they expect the law to just go, oh, my bad, didn't realize you're human, let's forget the whole child support thing. These arguments are completely delusional, and I'm honestly just sitting here wondering where they even come up with this stuff. Seriously, if anyone knows, I'd love to hear it because I'm super curious about this whole phenomenon. Let's dive back in.
As other businesses. And may I give an example? For example, McDonald's. McDonald's can't force me to eat their Big Macs. They need my consent. None of these businesses that I've mentioned have my consent to do business with them. Section 458 of the Social Security Act, incentive payments to state. It's a conflict of interest. And it's my argument right here, right now, that the state incentivizes them for, it incentivizes them to collect more child support. The main argument I have here and for you guys is full disclosure. You know, it seems like they enter me in a contract without my consent, without full disclosure, and that's the problem here. You know, I'm here to argue subject matter and lack of jurisdiction. No evidence was established in my involvement of a common law crime or damages, and I did not commit any common law crime. Notice of court to refusing to appear voluntary, and I do not accept these contracts, and I do not consent to these proceedings was another motion or notice to motion that I submitted 11/28/22. And it's basically evidence is they didn't provide any evidence of an injury or injured party. And
Mr. Kraft, you're out
yes.
of time. We understand that you raise issues of disclosure,
yes,
jurisdiction, remedy, and as I indicated, your brief, as with all the appellants and appellees we have here today, the briefs that you submit are kind of the key issue or the key tool that we use to resolve cases. And so I just want you to know, we have your brief.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to go back. We've had research attorneys look at it. We're going to look at it again. We're going to discuss your case. And then you'll get an opinion from us sometime within the next few weeks.
If I may, one last thing.
You've got, you can do it in 20 seconds.
I can. The government must prove charges beyond a reasonable doubt with clear evidence, especially when making the claims against someone. And I'm asking you guys right here, right now, they did not provide any evidence against me. And I would ask you to.
Wow, now that he said that last line, I might almost have to give him a pass. But seriously, does this guy really think that by saying, don't hold prejudice against me, the judge is just going to go, "Oh, okay, my bad, we'll throw out all the laws." It's like he actually believes words alone can change reality. Honestly, it's laughable, and I'm just sitting here wondering who told him this would work. Let's be real, his argument that the law doesn't apply to the state testing for biological data isn't the worst I've ever heard, but it's far from convincing. He's clearly trying to find some magical loophole, but in reality, this situation would have gone much smoother if he had just hired a lawyer. Can you imagine if he actually had someone in his corner who knew what they were doing? Maybe then he wouldn't be spouting off these bizarre claims about the law not applying to him. A good lawyer could have at least made his case a bit stronger, but instead, he's just digging himself deeper with every word. It's honestly painful to watch. There's definitely a better way to handle these situations than trying to argue against the law itself. It's never going to work. So, what do you guys think about this guy? Does he have a chance at winning, or is he just wasting everyone's time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, everybody.